Hi, my name's Al, and today I'm going to walk you through servicing the lower legs and wiper seals on your RockShox fork. There's two key things that you need to remember when you're working on suspension. The first thing is that everything needs to be very clean. So we've cleaned this fork, so there won't be any dirt dropping into any of the internals as we service it. The other important thing with any air suspension is that you release the air before you take it apart. This fork, you can pull the rebound adjuster out, and this works nicely for letting the air out of the valves. This fork has two valves. It's got a positive chamber at the top and a negative at the bottom. To make sure that all the air has gone from the fork before we take it apart. So with the fork clean and all the air released, then we can remove the lower legs. It's pretty simple really. First off, remove the rebound knob if you've not already. And we need to undo the nuts and bolts which hold the lower legs on. On the right hand side, the damper side, we've got an Allen key bolt. Unscrew this partially, like so. And on this side, we have a nut. A deep socket's best for this. If you don't have one, you can use a spanner. And the shallow socket. Unscrew it part way off, but leave it on. We need to tap these to release the shafts from the lower legs at the bottom. There will be some oil that comes out, so make sure you've got a bucket or something beneath to catch the oil. Pop your Allen key in, give it a tap. Now we can fully remove the bolt and the nut. With the bolt and the nut removed, we can remove the lower legs. Like so. With the lower legs, we've got a wiper seal here, and inside there's a foam ring. The foam ring should be saturated in oil, and that's what helps to keep the seal lubricated. If you're going to keep them and not replace them, then we need to give them a good clean. So the first thing we should do is to pick out the foam ring, which sits inside, which comes out like so, and to save it from being damaged whilst we clean inside the lower legs, we should remove this spring from the seal as well. With the spring and the foam ring removed, we can give the seal a good clean. With the seal clean, we need to clean inside the lower leg. We get a rag and some kind of rod that isn't going to mark or damage the inside of the fork. You can give it a good clean. If it's really dirty, we can get some water in there, maybe a bottle brush to give it a proper clean. If you do that though, make sure it's totally dry before you reassemble the fork. If we're reusing the seals and the foam rings, we'll need to give the foam rings a good clean and re-lubricate them. We get some isopropyl alcohol. Give them a good clean. Any dirt that's in there should come off on the paper towel. If they're really dirty, you should definitely be considering a seal change. Try not to stretch them too much, because they'll be a nightmare to refit. Once you're happy that they're clean, you need to leave them to dry completely. Once it's clean and dry, we need to re-lubricate it. RockShox will recommend their own stuff. It's called Red Rum. You could also use float fluid or some heavyweight suspension lube. Like a 15 weight. Once it soaks up plenty of oil, it's good to go back into the fork. So now we need to put the seal back together. Spring just pops on like so, and the foam ring, which is all nicely soaked in oil, just pops into its recess. If you're going to fit new seals, such as these, then we need to remove the old ones. Get yourself a large flat-bladed screwdriver or a plastic tie lever, whatever it is, make sure that you've coated the shaft in something that isn't going to scratch the fork. With the seal popped out, you need to bin the old foam ring and give the lower leg a proper clean around the seal area. Careful that any of the dirt doesn't fall into the lower leg. Once this is really clean, then we can fit the new seals and the new foam ring. They've been soaking in red rum, so nicely lubricated. Foam ring just drops in. The seal sits in its recess, and we just need to push it home. Make sure you only push on the flat part of the seal here. Don't put any pressure on the lip itself, because you'll damage it. Once you press the seal into place, just make sure it's completely flush, so it's sitting down nice and evenly. You should just be able to press it with your fingers, like I just did. These new seals come lubricated, but if you're using old ones especially, then it's a good idea to pop some grease around the inside of the seal. You don't need a lot. Make sure it's suspension specific grease, such as this Judy butter. Next up, we need to fit the lower legs. If you did reuse the seals, make sure you remember to refit the springs. It can be a bit tricky to pop these on. Be really careful that you don't fold the seals over or get the foam rings trapped. Slide them on, but don't slide them on all the way. What we need to do now is move the fork so it's just above horizontal, because we're going to add oil into the lower legs. With the fork set just above horizontal, we can add the oil into the lower legs. So this is the oil bath. In this particular fork, it's 5mm in each leg. If you check the SRAM website, you'll be able to find an oil chart which will show the exact values of oil for your fork. With the oil in the lower legs, we need to fully engage them. So slide them down. You should see the push rods emerge from the end of the lower legs. You might need to line them up as you push them into place using a pick or a small Allen key or something similar. So we've got a bolt on one side and a nut on the other. As we tighten these up, it's really important that the fork is in a completely collapsed state, so it's compressed as far as it will go. This will eliminate having a pocket of air in the bottom of the fork, which will effectively create an extra air chamber if it was fully extended. So as they are now, when they extend, you'll actually get a bit of a vacuum, help the fork action. This nut and bolt needs to be tightened to 7.3 Newton meters. Okay, to finish off, we just need to inflate the fork, both the air chambers to their pressures that you run them at, refit your rebound adjuster, give the fork a bit of a wipe down, and we're done. One thing that's worth mentioning with a dual air fork such as this from RockShox is that you want to be inflating the positive air chamber first and the negative second. So that's it, the fork's all wiped down and ready to go. Just remember though, this is only a lower leg service. You're still going to need to get your damper and your air chamber serviced on a regular basis. I'd say at least once a year. I know it's a chore, I know it costs a bit of money, but it will keep it running nicer. So that's it, hope it's been of some help, and see you next time.